did well on that, keeping the answers short, so let's try and do that as we move on. Next question then. Pavements in Romsey are chronically blocked by hedges, bins, oh my goodness, the bins, bikes, cars. What can be done? Zachary?
I'm going to go back to the point about having to be realistic about living in a historic city. You know, lots and lots of people in this city particularly in Romsey, live in terraced houses where when the bins go out on bin day, they've got nowhere else to put them. And you know, we can all get very annoyed about that reality, but it is nonetheless the case. You know, some people are fortunate to have front gardens or places where they can leave, but a lot of people aren't. These are the problems that come with living in a community like ours, and I think they're outweighed by the benefits of living in somewhere like Romsey. I think certainly there's a sort of, and I was having a discussion actually with my partner the other day around, I think the key issue at the moment with a lot of people is pavement parking for cars along the road in particular. I think that is an issue where it's very easy to quickly end up getting wound up about that without necessarily thinking about the follow through. A lot of the small local independent businesses, which we're so lucky to have on the road, survive on very, very narrow profit margins. And a lot of the delivery and the demand now for those businesses comes from delivery companies. If they can't get collections immediately outside their shops or their restaurants, those businesses will close. And I think, again, it's an example of needing to have a little bit more common sense and empathy for the situation of many of our fantastic local businesses. I don't think pavement parking is something that is an ideal in an ideal world. We don't live in an ideal world, we live in this one. And I think if we can support some of those fantastic enterprises that we have locally by tolerating a little bit of on-street parking, sorry, not on-street parking, pavement parking occasionally, I think that's the right way to go. Right. So that's my view.
John, sorry. But it's not just cars. I appreciate that's an issue, but a questioner mentioned hedges, imagine overgrown hedges, bins. Oh my goodness! Don't set me off about bins. It's a multiple issue here. What would you and the Lib Dems do about it?
Right. Yes, this has always been said that there's no complete solution, but I would hope and I would expect all of these issues could be improved. Pavement parking, where it's really unnecessary, and I'm thinking that should be clamped down on. Sometimes a vehicle has to stop in a certain position if it's to unload or unload, and that needs to be done quickly in an appropriate way. I'll just take two of these and pass them on to somebody else. Another one is bikes. One issue with bikes is that there aren't enough places to park bikes. One thing that Liberal Democrats would like to do, and I think along with other parties, is to provide more parking places for bicycles in positions where they're supported by the local residents, and I think there is scope for doing that. So that maybe is a way of making an improvement into those categories.
William, is this an area I wonder where people of Romsey and the other parts of Cambridge could work together to try and sort this out? We can't really do anything about the motorists who won't move, but we can help each other with hedges, maybe bins.
I was going to say that there are a lot of things that I find, obviously people kind of sort of gripe about things in their neighbourhood, but sometimes I wonder why don't you just do something about that? You know what I mean? Like if you can do it, then just do it. If there's a bin blocking your way, or you see a bin blocking the way, why don't you just move it out of the way? And okay, all right. I'm just saying.
It is challenging on pavements and terraced houses. It's like you just move the problem to somewhere else, which isn't particularly helpful.
Well, no, but I wouldn't know exactly what to say about if the bins are a persistent problem on a very narrow street. You know, you live on a narrow street, so what are you going to do?
Take them in time.
Sorry?
Take them in time. Yes.
Sure, but the thing
is mentioning education.
No, this is what I was just going to touch on this point, if you don't mind.
Yeah, hedges are overgrown.
If you don't mind, I was going to say that this again touches on this lack of enforcement, lack of maintenance of the city, and actually also a kind of a sense of civic pride, which I see some people have got, in spades. But then there's people who don't really care where their bin ends up after the bin men have delivered it. It'll end up on the other side of the street. And the thing is, are we talking about pavement parking now? Is that count in this? the pavement parking and cycle parking as well, I just see this as a city should provide the services for what people need. You know, so if you need to pull up on the side to stop into a shop or something, there should be loading bays and parking bays for that. If you expect to get rid of pavement parking by getting rid of car parking spaces, you're thinking in the wrong way. If you want people to park legally and safely, then create parking bays for them to park in. And then you can enforce the areas around the parking bays. Again, that would only happen if you actually improve the enforcement and the maintenance of the city.
Do you think the what they call now effectively enforcement officers, the people who I might have called traffic wardens 20 years ago, instead of giving me a ticket on my car outside my house because it's there because I never hardly use it, they should be moving the bins on? You think?
Probably that would be. Like I think they've got their hands full enough with them.
Right.
I was talking about a community sort of helping each other out and being neighbourly towards each other.
Okay.
Really.
Be in favour of that, though. Dave, how do we solve all of this? What's being done right now, and why can't we do more of it?
Well, enforcement, of course, is a county thing again, so it's nothing to do with the city.
It's okay. I think the thing we should say here is that it's incredibly difficult sometimes to remember what the county council does and what the city council does. You know, your view is important because it might relate to something else.
Okay. Every time a car drives onto a pavement, it damages it. How much it damages it is debatable. But when cars continually drive on pavements, they damage the pavements. Now, in the side streets of Romsey, people park on the pavements. That currently is the way that it's accepted. Now, because the community have accepted that, not overwhelmingly, but it is accepted by the community. That's why it happens. When you put your bin out for the dust people to come around and collect it, that then blocks the pavement. Now, nothing can be done about that. We have to live with that, unless we move the cars off the pavements and leave enough room. Now, that is too contentious to even consider right at this moment. The cars that park on Mill Road, which is a big topic at the moment, again, that has got nothing to do with the City Council. It's the County Council's problem, and they don't deal with it. But William's got this idea about having loading bays. Now, that would be fantastic, and I agree with that totally. The only way that could be achieved is by restricting Mill Road Bridge and allowing working with the reduction in traffic to be able to park. If vehicles were allowed to park in any other way on the road, then either they drive onto the pavement and damage the pavement, or they stay in the road and block the road. So it's a real problem, and it's a real problem, but actually, I'm sorry. But
I
it's
thought
not.
it was a pet project of Mill Road for people.
Well, I don't know, I don't know about it. I know what Mill Road for People's project is,
One of
and I would support that. But the point is, I am a city councillor, and people seem to think that they can do something about it by becoming a city councillor. I can't do anything about it. Nothing at all.
Can I?
Sorry, boy, go ahead.
Yeah, can I just come in here? Dave, I ride a mobility scooter every day, and when I go down the side streets, I just chafe my face all day on the bushes. Now, surely you as a city councillor could do something about that. That's not a county council problem. That's a tenant's problem.
Well, I totally accept that. And if somebody approaches me about a hedge that is hanging over the pavement, then I will immediately get onto people to see that that is looked at. But the reason why that hedge is brushing against you is because there's a car parked halfway on the pavement.
Okay. Got a few hands going up there. People at the back first, so I forget who was first, but gentlemen there, go first. I will come to the others, don't worry.
Can I just point out, I have a picture here of William Bennell's van on the pavement near Adlingrove. I mean, he's like many people. You know, this is something that pervades the city. You know, everywhere you go, there's pavement parking. But I would just challenge Mr. Bennell to say, you know, this is your behaviour. Would you like to apologise? Because
Are you
this is
following?
illegal.
possibly better things, but quickly, your van, you're sorry?
I'm not
One of those
sorry.
things?
Like I said, people have to pull in sometimes and stop for a couple of minutes and move on.
7 minutes.
Are you following?
Thank you, Martin, for that. I didn't hide the fact that I did it, and the thing is, to be honest with you, I don't really see that as a problem. I know that it's illegal, but what I'm arguing for is more spaces to park being provided for people who need to park. Yeah, we could put double yellow lines everywhere and say you're breaking the law.
I hate double yellow lines.
If you could actually get more spaces to park, that wouldn't be a problem.
Lady in the red.
Can I just also point out not only the bushes but the trees in Romsey? Because I've spoken to county councillors and I've spoken to city councillors and I'm having no joy either way. The trees, some of the trees in Romsey are really overgrown and they're quite dangerous in the winter when the leaves fall and the pears fall. Older people trip on them, people have
So
to
these public trees or in people's
No,
gardens
the
which
trees on
won't
the
go?
corner of Foss Street.
Okay.
Public trees. No one's doing anything about that city councillor or county councillor on. No one is, so where do you go?
I am. Because they're outside.
Gentleman's right, sorry, Chair.
So why? So
Points
why?
of information about the parking on one tyre up on the pavements all around here. Back in 1992, it was proposed to put double yellow lines on one side of each road. Myself and another person raised a petition, because I lived on Thoday Street at the time, and we got overwhelming size petition, which we delivered to the council. Within a day, Barry Gardner came round and saw me and my colleague, and he looked at it and he said, yeah, okay, this is totally impractical. Labour gave us the one side on the pavement
Yes.
parking, and it was totally impractical to stop it, to run the traffic out there. Where would people have parked their car? So actually it was decided a long time ago by the consensus of the people here in Romsey that they wanted that.
Barry Gardner, we're going on the break. His daughter's standing in Queen Edith's, I think, this time. My memory serves me right. Piero, I think you had something to say.
Yes, two fair questions. You know, I'm sure here we got lots of decent people. You know, we all have good common sense. I mean, I'm one of them. I put the bins outside in the morning, and I make sure I don't obstruct the paving. I put just on the boundary of my property. And when I come back after work, I see bins all over the place. I mean, sometimes, you know, even the residents, you know, they are considered, they put the bins in between cars, and as I said, you know, so it's the collections. When they pick up the bins, they leave the scattered bins all over the place. Now, whose fault is? People. The collectors. Because I left the bin in the right place and they could take consideration not obstructing the paving, you know, just doing the right duty. And then when I go there, my bin is like 5-6 doors away. And which
I share your pain, I really do.
No, but this is what I've been observing. So it's not like it's kind of nobody's fault, but somebody also has a fault as well. It's not just people; it's also sometimes the connections as well. Now about the bushes, you know, the edges. I own one of them as well, and I've been considering. I noticed it was overgrown, so I'm cutting back. But I wish everybody does exactly the same. But again, it would be nice if the council could just give a friendly reminder to say, look, it would be nice if you just, otherwise we do ourselves. Otherwise, if we do it, we charge you.
That would be an interesting thing. Gentleman at the back.
I just want to mention that anything overhanging the pavement is county, trees are city, and the bins are also city, so everyone knows.
Bins is the city, potholes is the county, basically. I'd like to continue to do some questions. The lady in the front there.
Sorry, you said anything overhanging the pavement's the county. I thought in the past, if the city has been notified, this is pre-pandemic, notified about overgrown hedge over the pavement, they wrote a letter to the householder giving them time, the city wrote to them, telling them to cut it back and notifying them if they didn't do it within a certain time, the city would come along, cut it and could charge them. So what's happened now? What's happened there? It's not the county as far as I know, unless the laws changed.
Dave, anything else to shed any light on that at all? Is that something
As I
that
said,
you used to know in the future?
No, as I said, Roy, if you let me know about any hedge that's hanging over the pavement, then I will get in touch with the department that deals with that and we'll get it dealt with.
My lord, you're going to be full of it then.
Now, hang on a minute, you can't ask me to do something and then when
No, I will.
do it,
I will.
laugh at me.
I definitely
Not
will.
fair, is it? Maybe that's what I'm here for tonight.